Breakfast with the Boss, and I'm here with my friend Biz. How are you?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me too. Abby is our production supervisor. How you doing, Abby?
I'm great. How about you guys?
Good. Good morning. Again, Scott Tanker. This is Breakfast with the Boss. We're www.radiovisionnetwork.com. We're part of the Morning Coffee Show. And we have a great show today. For those of you who aren't sure about where your finances are, where they were, and where they're going, we got the guy for you. Everybody, please say hello to Douglas MacGray. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
And Doug is a owner and a compliance manager, an attorney, and he's got more acronyms than you would ever believe, but a guy that's been around for a long time in the investment world from Compass Advisors here in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, everybody worries about their finances. They talk about it, but they don't necessarily do anything about it. I'm just as guilty as everybody else. We all have our situations in life. They change. They go from young to medium to old. You must see it all. So let's start from the beginning. How did you get in this crazy business where you want to help everybody?
Well, it was never my intention to get into the financial business. I was a political science major in college, and I taught high school for a little while, then went to law school, and it was my intention to be a lawyer the rest of my career. But ultimately, I ended up doing estate planning, and after a while realized that even with estate planning, I loved working with people. I loved solving real problems as opposed to being in litigation where you're just kind of mucking it up with other attorneys.
Right.
But even estate planning was very transactional. People don't, it's like going to the dentist. People don't like going to see an estate planning attorney. They don't like paying the bill. They don't like talking about death and dying. So ultimately, when I got recruited by a firm that wanted me to be a financial planner, but they needed someone with an estate planning background, I looked into it and ultimately fell in love with the business. So I've been doing it ever since.
And ever since is how long are we talking about?
For 16 years.
16 years. Wow. Now, your background, as much as you think isn't important to what you do now, I think actually it is. Political science, that means we can talk about everything.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer, right? And he's a school teacher. Those are great talents to have to get into the business ultimately, which you probably didn't even know, but here you are.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the most important ones was the teaching, because I taught overseas where the children I was teaching, English was their second language. So I had to learn to take difficult concepts and make them very understandable on a basic level while teaching. So that was important in my legal business because most lawyers talk over people. And in the financial business, the financial people tend to speak jargon to try to sound smarter than the people they're talking to. And most of what I try to do with clients is to educate, because you shouldn't make any decisions in your financial world, whether it's an investment or whatever you're doing, without understanding what you're doing.
Right. Now, I think that brings us to a good point. Let's start from the beginning. Financial planning means what?
Well, just what it sounds like, I suppose. You're planning your future. One of the things I tell every client when I sit down with them with a financial plan is say, okay, we've projected the rest of your life now, but it's not going to happen this way. So really what you're doing is using conservative assumptions, making sure that you're going to be okay, regardless of the variables. Variables can be taxes, variables can be a disability, variables can be 2008. And so with all those potential things that could happen, do I have a plan in place that's going to withstand all of that? So that's really what financial planning is. It's guarding against the variables to make sure that all the resources I have available to me are going to be sufficient.
Now, planning is different for different people at different ages.
Sure.
And you being a financial planner, and you're like an architect, and you really sort of build the plan around the people whose lives you're looking at.
Right.
And oftentimes it's hard to probably relay that kind of information and communicate it because people don't grasp it as easily as
Sure.
you do. How do you go about starting? Someone brand new in the world, someone who has 2 young children. How do you meet? They meet you and say, oh, is this guy going to cost me money? Does he want to get paid by the investments that he puts in place?
Right.
Does he get paid by the insurance he puts in place? Is it some combination of both? How can I trust him? Now, by the way, I can definitely trust you. I know who you are. I know what you have. I'm not saying that, but this is what people in the world think about. And frankly, I'm an AARP person. I'm that old. And just this month's magazine was, how do you pick out your financial planner?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
Well, you picked the right word. The word is trust.
Yeah.
And one of the things I and my colleagues in my company try to do is, number one, to be patient with potential new clients. We could probably make more money more quickly if we were better salespeople. In other words, if we
push things.
Push things at the meeting and made sure we got a sale that meeting. But ultimately, we want relationships. We want clients that are going to be with us for a long time. And if people are comfortable with the trust part of the decision before they make that decision, it's likely they're going to stick with you because they're walking into it without being suspicious. And for some people, they're very intuitive. It takes a meeting. For some people, it can take a year or longer. Some people I've known, it took them 10 years before they said, okay, I'm going to hire you. Because of their circumstances, they weren't ready, and just because of whatever going on. So we always want to be very patient with that. When I first started working in this business, I went from the legal business into this business. And in the legal business, you get paid for your time.
Right.
And now I meet with prospective clients and even do a significant amount of work with them without charging them anything until they make a final decision, yeah, I want to work with you. That was anathema to someone like me who had gotten paid for every time I pick up the phone.
Click, click, click. Right.
So I like the model a lot better, but yeah, you picked up on it. It's trust, and in that trusting relationship, we learn as much as we can about these prospective clients and then build the plan.
And I would say with trust, since we're speaking on that, I know we have a lot of parents that watch. It's very difficult to bring the younger generation into wanting to even speak about money or speak to a financial advisor when it's not something that they've witnessed their parents do. So when you're looking, even if you're a new parent, if your kids are in college, if you don't have a financial advisor, you're going to have a hard time feeling comfortable that your child is prepared for things that come your way. They're just going to knock on your door and ask you for money because they don't have a financial plan.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely something that parents are going to want to look into, is having someone to help them build the trust and the loyalty, and then maybe they'll feel more comfortable giving that to their
When an
children.
adult gets an advisor like Doug, who has experience and know-how and expertise and is successful, that filters back down to the kids. They see that. You meet with them at home sometimes, they hear your name being talked to at the table. Hi, honey, did you hear Doug called us today about something? You just hear stuff like that. And kids listen, and all of a sudden now your kids are getting a little smarter. So we definitely want to talk more about this. I have so much more I want to ask you. The audience out there wants to know, how do I go about meeting you and getting a hold of you, which we'll get back in 1 minute. We do have a break, so we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. This is Scott Tanker. This is Doug MacGray. This is Bizzy Bahdee, right? Got you going. And we'll be back in 2 minutes or less after these messages.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facials, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more. Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Hi, we're back. This is Scott Tanker and Doug MacGray of Compass Ion Advisors. We're talking about financial planning for all types of people, all ages, and what we're trying to do is get to the basics so that people in the younger generations can now believe in finding a good financial planner. And we were talking about how do you pick out one. We talked about the word trust. Creating a relationship in today's world is different than it used to be when I was 30 years old. People had more time then, and they gave you more time. Relationship building was a little different. Now you have to almost pick and choose your spots because it's so busy. Everybody's so busy. But there's some basic things everybody can do. Everybody can do, no matter whether they see you or not. What are some of those things people can do, either when they see you or even if they don't see you?
Well, there are some obvious things that sound so basic. But one of them obviously is try at least to spend less than you earn. One is to always be trying to be saving something. Everyone has a future they want to save for, a distant future, and so to be saving something for that, no matter what, makes some sense. Also to be saving for the shorter term things, whether that's they want to buy a house someday, or they just want to be in a position to have more liquidity to be financially independent. And then the last one is if they're in some sort of a debt situation, school debt or whatever, to be making sure they're probably overpaying that a little bit. So figure that stuff out, the longer term stuff, before you figure out what your lifestyle needs to be. In other words, people tend to find an apartment, get cable, get all those things first, and then they figure, okay, is there anything left? Well, I should figure out, I want to save X amount of dollars per month first, and this is where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Now what can I afford in rent, and what can I, what cable package can I afford, and all those
Some basic things for people out there is really just write down the things you spend money on and write down the money that you get in. That's called expenses and income, and take a look at those two figures.
Right.
And that certainly gives you an idea of how much you have on a monthly basis to spend on needs and wants, which is another way you should probably create. Wants are different than needs.
Right.
And then you should always consider saving at least 3 to 5, if not more, 10% of your money every year. Now, if you can't do it, start out at 3%, and I always tell people, add 1% a year.
Sure.
So by the time you're 6 or 7 years into it, you're at 9, 10% already.
Yeah, the other thing that's really important for people of all ages that gets missed is the whole issue of the cash reserve. People tend to, if they have extra money, if they have any debt, they might all go towards debt because they hate the debt, or they might send it all into their IRA or 401k. You need a significant amount of money sitting in the bank, so when your transmission goes or your furnace blows up or something like that, you're not going to the plastic and you're finding yourself in a cycle again.
Right.
That is something that I see wealthy people and people of middle class and people that are more limited means, all of them miss that. Yeah. And that's one of the one of the biggest keys to being financially independent, to not be dependent on circumstances. Yeah.
Now, how do you get them in that position from an investment point of view. Your company does that. Tell us a little bit about your company, by the way, before we get on. We need to know more about the expertise, the experience that you guys bring to the table. And frankly, Campus Ion Advisors, Compass, has been around for a while. You've been there 16 years. It's been around for a while. You're an attorney, you're a CFP, you're a CEA, principal of the firm, you're a compliance officer. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of responsibility. You must have many other employees to help out.
Sure. We've been around since 1992. I've been with them for 10 years. It was founded by a fellow named Jim Baird, who's one of my partners now, and I joined the company in 2006, and at the time we were wholly owned by another company. And one of the reasons I joined the company was that I had been a partial owner of the company where I was before, and I just wanted to be an employee. I didn't want all the complications of being an owner. And shortly after I got there, 3 of the other people who worked there came to me and said, "We want to buy the company. We want you to join us." So I said, here we go again. So to show you what great timing we had, in 2008 we bought the business as everything was crashing.
Perfect timing.
So in 2008 we kind of rode that wave, and we've been doing very, very well. It's been a real success story. We now have a 5th owner. We added a 5th there who own the company. We're an independent registered investment advisory company. The independence part is very important to us because we don't want anyone looking over our shoulder telling us you should be buying this or you should be charging this, that type of thing. We have 16 employees. We have clients from all shapes and sizes, mostly individuals or families, but we've also developed a significant expertise with dealing with nonprofits, college endowments, and things like that. So we have a 5-person investment committee that meets every week. I'm not on that committee. I'm a certified financial planner and an attorney, estate planning attorney, so I'm in charge of the financial planning effort. And we have other people who are in charge of the investment piece of it. Also, because I have JD after my name, they asked me to be the Chief Compliance Officer, which is my least favorite job.
You should have thought about that when you got there.
We again 16 people and about 1,000 clients.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And how many assets under management over there?
We are responsible for advising on about $750 million in assets.
And why don't you tell the group into the camera here on our left where to get a hold of you and your email and all that good stuff? Because apparently, I know this. You'll speak to anybody to see if you can be of some help to them.
Sure.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So our phone number is 610-783-4265. That's my phone number, and one of the company phone numbers. And email is dmacgray at ionadv.com, and we're at compass-ionadvisors.com, and that's how to reach us, and we're happy to talk with someone who's got financial questions or issues. Or
some people think that the investment side of things is a solution. It's really not. It's really the financial planning side, because everything comes out of that. So we want to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to be back after these messages. This is Scott Tanker. This is Bizzy Bot. This is Doug MacGray of Compass Ion Advisors. We'll be back in 2 minutes after these messages.
Today's show is sponsored by Hargrove Demolition, your demolition experts. Hargrove is a family-owned and operated business right here in the southern New Jersey area, bringing you 45 years of demolition expertise. Hargrove has all your demolition needs, from emergency demolition service to demolition equipment rental. Hargrove is one of the state-approved recycling facilities right here in the southern New Jersey area. No job is too big or too small for Hargrove Demolition. Contact them today at one of their 3 locations.
When I was injured, I couldn't play basketball for my entire sophomore year.
After years of wear and tear, I knew something was seriously wrong with Deja's knee when the swelling wouldn't go down.
Young athletes are still growing. They need specialized care only available here at Dayton Children's.
I wanted the best care for Deja because I wanted her to return to the things that she loves to do, and that's basketball.
At Dayton Children's Sports Medicine, we're treating tomorrow's champions.
Right care.
Right now.
Right here.
Dayton Children's.
Just right for kids.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, This is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back. This is Scott Tanker and Bizzy Bahdee and Doug MacGray from Compass Ion Advisors. We're talking about financial planning. We're talking about how you, as a layman, someone who doesn't even understand this stuff, can help themselves. And you had a big question you wanted to ask.
Yeah, with the push nowadays, everyone wants to do things themselves.
Right.
It's you have apps for this, and you have sites for that. So why should someone seek out a financial advisor to speak to rather than just use some online website?
Well, people come to us for a variety of reasons. It's always, it's often a trigger. Sometimes it's a couple of years before retirement they start to get nervous. And I often look at it as any other type of profession. There are certain things I can do in my car, but a lot of things I can't. There are certain at-home projects I can do, but after a while, I call our handyman or whomever. So there are some things certainly you should do on your own. You should, learn as much as you can about budgeting, learn as much as you can about saving, and all those things. But one of the problems with investing is most people learn by making a lot of mistakes first. And so it's a good idea to learn from a professional or someone who's been around the block a little bit. When I joined this company 10 years ago, one of the reasons I joined them was because my background is in law and financial planning, and I was getting a lot of questions from my clients about investments, and I felt like I needed some partners to help me with that part of it. You cannot replicate decades of experience in the investment business. You can learn a lot on your own, absolutely, and I encourage everyone to learn as much as they can, but a financial advisor is someone who's essentially an outside voice, a non-emotional voice, because your money is very emotional to you. It's just like any other problem you try to solve. Often someone coming in from the outside will solve it for you because they don't have the emotions attached to it. Most people's mistakes they make in investments, they make because they get scared. Understandable. Or they get greedy. The market's going up. It's time to jump in. Or there are just some things they just don't understand. So there's a lot you can learn online, and there's a lot you can learn on your own, and I encourage that before you meet with a financial advisor. But ultimately, early on in your financial life, you should meet with a financial advisor to get you on the right track. Certainly, my preference would be have a financial advisor for the rest of your life. And then once you have some assets that are starting to make you nervous, I've got some money in the savings bank and it's not earning anything. What do I do? I'm losing that. Or I've got money in the 401k. Is it invested too aggressively? I'm worried. Don't worry. Get some advice.
People out there really need to understand that you can make a lot of money if you don't make some of these mistakes.
Right.
And it's very easy to make a lot of money because the compounding of interest is the second miracle of life, birth being the first. And since guys don't have to worry about that, money really becomes very important to us.
Yeah,
what can I tell you?
Imagine.
Doug, tell us a little bit about your background in terms of, you said you were an attorney, and now you were in Massachusetts. You grew up in Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts?
Nope. I grew up in a small town called Holliston, Massachusetts, which is right near where the marathon starts, so 26 miles outside of Boston.
Okay.
It's an easy way to think of it. Grew up there, went to a small college up there, as I said, political science major. Then I went overseas to Micronesia, where I taught in a boys' boarding school on a small island called Koror.
Wow. How long was that?
That was for a couple of years, and one of the nice, this is a long story which I won't tell, but one of the neat things about it was I showed up there, did not realize it till I got there that basketball was their favorite sport. and I happened to be the tallest man in the country while I was there.
Think?
So it made me an instant
You were a
celebrity.
hero.
That's right. Yeah.
See, I never would have made it in Micronesia.
Can you play basketball?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter at that height. You know, they thought he could, right?
Oh, right,
My guess is he probably played a lot of basketball. I want you to give some people an idea on the two things they can do before they talk to you. Before they pick up the phone and call you, and they're going to call you at 610-783-4265. Before they call you, what are the two things they need to do?
Oh, well, the two things they need to do, number one is get some idea, some organization of their assets. What do you own? What are your financial resources income-wise? What are your expenses? That's a real hard one for people to get their handle on.
Right.
Some people are really good at it. So the data, get a good handle on what it is and inventory of what you have. The second one is really give some thought to what are your goals and dreams. Some people have this really thought through, but that's the rarity.
Right.
You know, I mean, there are all sorts of books on it and everything like that, but what's your mission in life? What do you love to do? Where do you want to be? We were talking off camera about how you never want to retire.
Right.
That seems to be more and more the mindset, because the old mindset was 65 and I'm going to golf. That's a very rare person now that wants to do that. They want to do things keep doing meaningful things. And so what are those? I need to know that, because if you say, you know, at 55 or somewhere in there, I want to stop doing this job and I want to start doing that. I had one person who just came out and said, yeah, I want to stop doing this job. He was working at a utility. He was an engineer. And I want to become a sheep farmer. Right. Who knew?
Wow.
But that was his passion. I mean, and another person who worked at another company in a technical field, and he traveled all over the world, and he found that wherever he went, he was going to shoe stores and asking them about the shoes, where they got them and everything. He wants to open a shoe store. So those are a little bit outliers.
It's okay to have a second life.
But still, yeah, what do you, I mean, there's some people, all sorts, it's nonprofits, it's other things they want to get, they want to teach. What is it that really drives you? And what are your goals in life? They're the obvious ones. I want to be financially independent. I want to educate my kids. Those type of things. But what else?
When people tangibly put down, even in writing, what they want, they can get it easier. There's a famous saying by Henry Ford that said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
But if you put it down in writing, it allows you to focus on your thoughts, focus on your ideas, and you actually have something to chase. I think most people are walking through life without having a goal.
Right.
Because for whatever reasons, and there's a zillion reasons, but we need to give them reasons. Help people have reasons to go through life with a goal. And that's why people need to speak to people like Doug, because it'll help you understand not just the financial side, but the quality of life, which is, what do you want?
Right.
He'll help you figure out what you want by virtue of what you can have. And you can work that way.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to look at your statements.
Right.
I know some people,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
they have an anxiety. Like, I
my
personally
gosh.
don't like physically checking my mail. I know that. It's just a weird thing. I don't like checking voicemails. It's just a weird thing. But I have my bank, I can access all of my accounts on my phone, and I can pull up my statements on the internet, and you have to keep an eye on that. You have to, because it helps you to understand where you're spending all the money, where's the money going at the end of the month, especially if you're check to check. Like, you have to know where you're wasting
Reconciling
money.
a checkbook is something most people don't do. They just get a new checking account when they can't figure it out. But the reality is, and I've worked in 401k plans for a long time, every quarter you should look at your statement. Every 6 months you should stare at the investments. And once a year, not more than that, you should meet with somebody to go over those things according to the plan that Doug and people like Doug have helped you create. It's not hard.
Yeah, one of the things that and you asked about this before, that an advisor can be really helpful with is just the whole issue of accountability.
Right.
There's some
They can toe the line.
with a lot of clients, they don't have any discipline about saving. So one of the things I offer them right away is, well, whatever it is you think you can afford to pull out of your account, we'll put it in the account that we have. And so you literally have to pick up the phone and ask us for the money back. Well, of course, give it to you. It's your money. But at least you might hesitate. Right. So it's that, and it's also, we'll sit down again in a year and say, okay, how are things going with your financial plan? If it's not working because you're spending a lot more than you told me, then
need to talk. Yeah.
that's it's your money, but at least I can tell you the consequences.
Right.
And then we'll plan around those. If you cannot live without these things, well, your financial plan has to be rerun based upon these new things. So that whole issue of accountability, not that we're staring at you and judging you. It's not that, but you have an outside voice who is going to be helpful.
Doug, you have been really helpful today. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I want Doug coming on in the beginning of each quarter from now on. Here we are at the end of the second quarter. Doug, would you like to come on every quarter?
I'd be thrilled.
All right, what do we say? Listen, we have to go, folks. We're a little behind schedule. This is Scott Tanker. This is Bizzy. This is our newest quarterly investment guru and financial planning guru, Douglas MacGray. He'll be with us each and every quarter at least. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
I want you to get a hold of Doug at 610-783-4265. Call him now. Call him soon. He'll answer the phone. If not, he'll get back to you, and he'll let you know when you can speak to him, courtesy of the firm, and maybe go from there, and he will help you get to where you want to be if he just listens. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, morning coffee, breakfast with the boss. We're going to continue now with morning coffee, and we'll be right back after these messages.